Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brothers and sisters. Welcome to this special online session on why you should pursue a master's at IOU. Before we dive into the details, we'll take a quick look at today's agenda. Our session today will unfold as follows. I'm unmuted. First, we'll begin with we have the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Professor Mohammed Ahsan, who will provide comprehensive insight into the master's programs at IOU. He will discuss the program structure, duration, evaluation, and much more. Following that, we have a short talk by the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Cherno Omar Barry, who will shed light on the prospects of choosing accredited master's programs at IOU. Finally, we also have a question and answer session where all your concerns will be addressed, inshallah. Now, without further ado, let's hear from our Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Dr. Mohammed Ahsan, who will provide us with a detailed overview of particularly the Masters in Psychology and Masters in Islamic Studies programs. Over to you, Dr. Ahsan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, dear brothers and sisters, and thank you, sister, for also inviting me. I also welcome all of you in this session, and I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of you. And it's always very good to talk to my brothers, sisters, and our students, and it always gives me pleasure. And again, I have this opportunity now. That's really good. Alhamdulillah. Right, dear students, as our, this meeting, I would say it's very open and very flexible, meeting, or I would say it's like open discussion, I will highlight some of the important dimensions of our master's programs. But before that, I would also like to highlight some of the other things. Other things means that I would say some, our journey, which started many years ago, IOU's journey. Yeah. And now, alhamdulillah, we reach at this stage. And this is not our end. This is just a continuation of our journey for development. I'm sure all of you know that many years ago, Sheikh Bilal, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him, he started this. Many times I say that he sowed the seed of IOU. IOU is his brainchild. And in the beginning, it was just an academy, later on university, and with the passage of time, alhamdulillah, there has been so many stages and so many challenges, lot of work, of different teams over the years, and then our accreditation. And alhamdulillah, now we have started our master's programs. And although it's not much relevant to our current discussion, but I would like to tell you, and you would be pleased to hear this, that we have submitted 2 PhD programs, curricula of 2 PhD programs to accreditation authorities as well. So please pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that those are, accredited soon, although it's a long process at their end as well. And but alhamdulillah, and we are also now working to plan to start working on the development of curricula of other PhD programs. So here my point is that you can imagine this is our continuous journey. And our aim is, with your prayers and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rahmah, that inshallah, one day, IOU would not only be IOU, it would be a center of excellence, inshallah. So this is just a very brief snapshot if you have any question later on about this, you are most welcome. But now I'll just focus on our master's programs, psychology and Islamic studies. And but before that, I would say that Islamic studies and Arabic master's program. These are two departments or two disciplines in which each discipline has two versions of master's programs. In our Islamic studies, for example, we have, as I said, two versions. One version is course-based master's program in Islamic studies. Other is research-based master's program in Islamic studies. Similarly, we have similar two versions in our masters in Arabic. One is course-based, other is research-based. Now, these research-based Arabic, Islamic studies, and psychology, these three master's programs, research-based master's program, we have started in this semester. Other programs we will start, inshallah, next year in March. So this is regarding our master's programs, which are already accredited. Now, I would like to briefly highlight the difference between course-based and research-based master's programs. In course-based, as you know, it's obvious from its name, it's mainly based on the courses. This is a very traditional, approach, and it's very common. Most of the master's program, most of this in all over the world, in more or less every university, very common approaches, they are course-based. But for past some time, universities also started research-based master's programs. As in course-based, there are a lot of courses. It depends upon that how many courses are there. You study those courses, you clear those courses, and then on the basis of that your score, then you are awarded the degree. But in many cases, the course-based master's programs, there is also a thesis, small thesis. In some cases, there is an option in some universities and in some discipline that, okay, you can have an option that either you can take a thesis or you can take a course in the replacement of thesis. But in some other disciplines, it depends upon the university or the discipline of that university, that course this small thesis is also compulsory in the course-based MA or master's program. Research-based master's program, which means that it is heavily based on research or thesis. It doesn't mean that there is no course or courses at all. No. In most of the cases, I would say, there are courses in the beginning, in the first semester, or it might be in second semester, 1 or 2 courses or something, but still it is heavily based on research. So presently, as I said, that we started these 3 master's programs. And in these programs, similarly, Arabic, it's heavily based on thesis. Similarly, in our Islamic studies, MA Islamic studies, it's also, research-based. We will start course-based, these versions of both programs in next semester, inshallah. Similarly, in our psychology, I would say it's also mainly research-based, because there are only around 4 courses, and then rest, it is a thesis. So this is mainly, you can see the difference between course-based and research-based. Now, because of the different nature of these two programs, or two different versions of the same master's program, the assessment criteria is also different. In course-based or in courses, whatever the courses, then it's very common, no need to explain it or something. All of you already know that there are exams and everything, it may be MCQs plus, assignments and plus something else, depends upon the structure of that course. And then assessment is made. But when it's a matter of thesis, whether this thesis is in a course-based master's program, or this thesis, a big thesis, is in a research-based master's program, assessment is different. Way of assessment is different as compared to courses. Here in your thesis, you do your research under the supervision of an allocated supervisor. And once you do good work, your supervisor is satisfied, then it's reviewed by a committee. In many cases, especially if it is a research-based master's program, then because here the thesis is the main dominant part of the degree program, then thesis goes to external examiners for evaluation. They will evaluate thesis. Normally it is sent to maybe 2 examiners, or in some cases there only 1 examiner, depends upon the situation. Now, based on their comments, sometimes it happens that they ask for some amendments, although it's approved by the university, by the supervisor, by our research directorate, but external examiner may say that, okay, some amendments are needed. And that's very common, no need to worry about this. I mean, whatever amendments they say, those are reviewed, again looked by the supervisory committee or supervisor, and your supervisor will help you to make the amendments. Amendments are normally, I would say, 2 or 3 types of, when these examiners, they evaluate thesis, there are around 3 or 4 situations. One situation is if you are lucky, if you have done very good work, excellent work, there are good chances they will say, oh, this work is done very good, and it is passed as it is. No amendment is needed. So this is one situation. Second situation is that they would say that, okay, work is good, but some minor amendments are needed. And those amendments depends upon the nature and the quality of work. Sometimes those are very minor. They may say, okay, there are some typographical errors, or some spacing or some page setup or this and that, which you can easily do that. But sometimes they may say that, okay, your theoretical part or analytical part are not up to the mark, or some other things, or conclusion is weak, it need to be restructured or rewritten, or similarly maybe abstract it is weak. So those still, I would say, those are minor amendments. So they will send the report, and then you will do minor amendments under the supervision of your supervisor. And once your supervisor is happy, you submit it and you are passed. So that's, in the thesis. Third category is, which is also rare, very rare, but it can be, just for your information, that if a thesis is weak, too weak, although it may be, approved by some university, although we will not do this because we always look at very carefully before sending it to external examiner. But suppose, external examiner feels that it's very weak, and major amendments are needed. So then it's a lot of work. Major amendments means that you will do those amendments under the supervision of your supervisor, and then it will go back to, again, it will go back to the same external examiner. He or she will look at it once again, that amendments are made as asked. And once they are happy, they will say, yes, okay, that's fine. Fourth category is very, very rare. But just for your information, that if supervisor may say that, no, this thesis is absolutely not acceptable, I reject it totally, Again, as I said, that this is very, very rare, because universities do not send thesis blindly, without checking to external examiners, But again, just for the sake of argument, if an external examiner says like this, then again, university's research committee can look at it. It doesn't mean that whatever he or external examiner said, that's the word of God. You have the right of the appeal, and universities committee will look at it, and they may reject the decision of external examiner, and the thesis maybe it can be sent to another examiner for evaluation. So these are different situations, which is better if you know that. Now, in the thesis, research-based master's programs, the most important thing, there are some pros and cons which I would like to highlight you. Based on my 3 decades of experience, even more than 3, I would say it's now 3.5, whatever I learned, and I have delivered it, countless workshops, training courses, and sessions about how to do your thesis, and especially PhD thesis. There are few things which I would particularly like to advise you, my dear students, so that you could do your thesis timely, you could complete your work, and also your work can be done, you should be of good quality, but you need to be careful for that. As I said, there are some pros and cons, like, if you see on one side, this thesis is very flexible. It's not like that, okay, tomorrow I have, I have to complete my, these MCQs, and after 2 weeks, then there is a midterm test, and after 2 months, then there is a final term test, and between that, on that date, I have to submit my assignment, this and that. So here, there's bit more flexibility. There are not very tight deadlines which are very close to each other, as in a course, in the courses. So this is, on one hand, it's good. But on the other hand, if you are not careful, if you do not bother much about the time management, then that's a serious, I would say, it may seriously, it will harm you. Harm you in the sense that, because if you take it too relaxed, that, okay, I'll do tomorrow. Well, I'll start, work next week. And okay, I will take leave from my job, this and that. Next month, I will, work very hard. That type of approach is absolutely not helpful, which means it will really harm you. As I said, harm you when I use the term, that either your master's program would be very late. Instead of 2 years, it may go maybe 2.5 years, or maybe 3 years, depends upon the situation. So my point, my dear student, my point is that in a thesis, please be a good time manager. Please be a good time manager. I'm repeating this. And being a Muslim, I'm sorry, I'm slightly deviating from my focus, but although I believe I'm not deviating, I'm rather re-emphasizing the same thing, and hope it will help in this way. We as a Muslim, many times, what I learned in my life, when I think about time management, the element of time management, it's not only in research, or not in, in task A, B, C, D. When philosophically I think about this, do you know what I realize? I always feel that not one of the biggest, but sometimes I feel this is the biggest blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who gave us time in our lives. And the teachings of all prophets, the major element of the topmost element in their teaching is time management. Can you think this bit philosophically? How come? You can ask, how come? I would say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us this limited time in our life, the present life. Now, it is our responsibility. We spend this time to follow the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And those commandments came to us through Allah's messengers and our last prophet. And now, what are those commandments? Okay, Tawheed. Okay. And after that, all other actions based on Tawheed, whether it's Salah, Sawm, Hajj, Zakah, every other activity in life, you name it, everything for us is Islamic. But problem is that many times we have made division that this is Islamic, this is worldly. No, our eating timely, our, having a good discussion with the family or something, being everything, when we do it, right thing on the right time, that's our deen. So in every activity, just think there is a time. If we don't pray timely, you know the outcome. Similarly, Sawm, Salat, Zakah. Can we avoid time? No. So that is our training. It's not only in those areas, all the things which we believe are worldly things. In fact, that's also part of our deen. And that's our training, that we need to do everything on the right and specified time. Now, my dear students, mashallah, all of you are young, energetic, and have a lot of ambitions. If you take this thing very seriously, I can guarantee you, not only thesis is a small chip in your whole life, I would say. But if you, manage your time very carefully, I can guarantee you, with the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will be successful, inshallah, very successful in your life, in all the things, inshallah. So this is I just wanted to particularly, highlight in case of research, when we talk about the research-based master's program. Just a couple of things I would briefly highlight, a couple of more things, and then Sheikh Barry is also here. Then I would request Sheikh Barry, and after that, then a question answer, inshallah. Now, when you are doing research, you are producing good quality thesis. In most cases, what happens is that many students, they produce good thesis as well. But what happens is, after completing their master's programs or PhD programs, that thesis is put in the shelf. And that's there. After a few months, after a few years in your life, later on, you see it, you wipe the dust and see, oh, yes, I did my thesis. That approach, I don't like that. I always say to my students that when you are doing your thesis, no doubt, do a good research, but in addition to that, please focus to think of that you also will get it published. We have a very well-established research and publication directorate in our university. So I always say to them that when you do your master's thesis, Then during your research work, when you are nearly at the end, during that process, also try to extract a research paper. Yeah, good quality research paper. Guidelines are there. We also have a journal, academic journal. Once you prepare this journal in accordance with the guidelines, submit to us. We would be more than happy to consider it for publication in our journal. This is one option. You can extract one paper, at least you can do that. You can extract two papers. When I did my second master's in Japan, many years ago, of course, I extracted two research papers from my thesis, MA thesis. One was published in Britain, other was published in Canada. My point is that a student like me, if I can do this, you can do even better than me. MashaAllah, all of you are very energetic and young. So this is publishing one avenue. Second avenue is that if after completing your thesis, once you have completed your degree, then please work more on your thesis. I would request you to think of expanding it. And we would be more than happy to consider it, to publish it in the form of a book. But for that, you need to do some extra work, because there is a difference between a thesis and a book. We will discuss it later on at some stage, and we will help you, we will guide you about that. And in our, these courses, research methodology courses, there is good, information we will provide you about all these things. So my point is that when your research paper is published, or your thesis is published as a book or something, that is a big star on your CV. This is one thing. Second thing, how happy you would be when you will see that, oh, your paper is published and is open to the rest of the world, or your book is published. That would also help you in your career development. And once you develop this taste of publishing one paper or something, etc., then after that, you will have desire to work more. And that is a very, big and important channel. It will be for your professional and academic development. And maybe, inshallah, some of you or many of you will think of doing PhD after that because you have developed good research skills. But for that, as I said, again, my dear students, that time management and systematic work is required. I have seen some very good theses, in some cases, even our own student, excellent work they did. But in spite of our insistence, our encouragement, they didn't bother to publish that. And their theses are still in their homes, in their shelf. Maybe a layer of dust is over there. Allah knows that. So anyway, I think I should stop now. And Sister, shall Sheikh Barry go first, or then we can have the question and answer session? What do you think? Sister, I'm just waiting to hear from you.
Yes, thank you, Professor Hassan. Now we will, yes, we'll be going to Dr. Barry. One moment, please.
Yes, that's
on the next thing on our agenda today is we have with us our esteemed Vice Chancellor, Dr. Cherno Umar Barry, who will explain why IOU's accredited master's programs can be a game changer for your academic journey. Over to you, Dr. Barry.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wa'ala. It is indeed a profound gratitude for me to the organizers to invite me to join you here and discuss why doing the master's program could be a game changer to you, especially here, the target group being the alumni. I would first of all commend the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, who I followed diligently on that expose, where most of the benefits of doing the master's program has been highlighted. I'll try my best not to go over some of those. There might be some overlaps, but I'm hoping that this will be of benefit, more benefit to all of you. I'll also make it a bit short because I'm sure you will have more questions than just listening to us rambling around. Probably you're just curious to find out of things. Well, I will try to share my screen if I'll be allowed. For the meantime, as that permission is being granted, I will first of all say that an alumni in a university is what they call the foot soldiers. They are the ones who hold an institution and make it alive. They are the ones who feed an institution. An alumni is only possible if we have people who are committed and willing to be a part of the institution and who will continue to help build that institution as it grows. So this is the reason why getting an alumni is always important. And engaging an alumni from the experience shows that there is a bigger chance of seeing the institution grow from being small and growing to become a much bigger entity. This is important to note. The reason is simple. It's because if you are an alumni, what it means is that then the chances are you will become the ambassadors. You will become the ambassadors who will be showing the institution elsewhere, who will be giving it the institution the life it deserves. And that is important because if the alumni is not really active, what happens is that the institution will continue to strive, churning out its graduates, but then there is a missing link. And that missing link is what we all want to aspire to see bringing back the energy to the university. In my experience, the alumni also allows most of the students who don't know the university to discover the university. And I think this is important because otherwise the university's marketing strategy has a limitation, but the alumni is the network that makes it happen. The final chip here, and which is the most important, is that an alumni has considerable benefits also from its alma mater. So if it is connected to the university, there are a lot of prospects, a lot of opportunities for the alumni to benefit from the International Open University. The International Open University has grown to become a masterclass university in many countries, including the Gambia. A masterclass in the sense that we have been one very unique university that has strived to maintain standards, to raise our quality of education, to make it relevant, pertinent, to make it affordable, to make it flexible, to make it, an accompaniment to every person. This is why the age range in International Open University is a wide one. In normal other universities, to go to a bachelor's degree, the people go physically and naturally. A certain age bracket is expected. So if you are beyond that age bracket, there is a kind of a very funny kind of way you are looked at, and that also makes the experience kind of a bit bitter, a bit odd, and sometimes a lot of people would drop away because they can't have an opportunity. If I'm supposed to do law today, I will have to go and enter into a university at the LLB level. But at my age, I will look very funny doing law, even though we all know that university education is not restricted to any age. But naturally, there is always an age bracket that is dominant. And that age bracket seems to always see an advanced age or a mature student as a very, very funny student. And the International Open University gives that flexibility, it gives that opportunity to adult learners to learn without having to bother about their physical, being complex about their age. This is why we have got 60-year-old, 70-year-old students doing bachelor's programs, doing certificate programs, doing diploma programs. without any hesitation whatsoever. And these people come out to become alumni of the International Open University. They become the pride of the institution. They also feel proud, fulfilled, completed, having done a program with a university. People who would probably never have had the opportunity to do it. Why? Because in their youth, the access to university was impossible. Impossible, either due to financial problems, either due to demographic problems, either due to space, either for many, many reasons. You know, maybe also they were committed to have to support their families a little too early. So they decide to drop out of university and make a sacrifice and then engage into a life of work to support themselves, support their families, and then they grow out of university. But International Open University gives those people an opportunity and brings them back and tell them, look, you do not have to live away. You do not have to live in seclusion. You do not have to have a complexity to come and study at a university. International Open University is not asking you to come to a university. It is saying, look, the university is right inside your bedroom. It's right inside your study room. It's right inside your living room. It's right at your doorstep. It's a matter of being brave enough to pick it. And as Professor Hassan said, managing your time, managing your space, managing yourself to be able to do our courses, however flexible they are, they give you an opportunity to do the courses until you complete. And you see, we have, for example, one unique example of someone who is aged, you know, in his 80s or so, who decided to do the MAIS, the Masters of the Master of Arts in Islamic Studies, and now is willing to do the PhD. I just had a few discussions with him, and he said, "Look, do you think I'll survive the PhD because it is taking long, and I don't know when I will take it, and I'm aged, I might die anytime soon?" I said, "Well, that it is in the hands of Allah. You know, he's an alumni today, and he's willing to come back and do a PhD. And this is Tawheed Norman. Tawheed Norman is living in Canada. He's doing a lot of work, extraordinary work, bringing people to the International Open University. That is what an alumni is supposed to do, is to love your university, love the knowledge you have gained, and make sure you strive to make sure people come back to that university that you so much boast about." And I told him, look, opportunities are there. You might be afraid that you might die anytime soon, but it's left to Allah. The intention is there. Continue to learn. There is lifelong education with IOU. Learn as long as you are alive. And what happens? You will get fulfilled. You will get fulfilled. And this is what the alumni of IOU is supposed to continue to do. They don't have to stop learning now. They can continue to learn while they are active in their works. They are continuing to learn while they are probably engaged in caring for their families, caring for an aged person. You know, they can stay at home and learn. They can be in the bus, going to work and learn. They can be, you know, instead of socializing, wasting time with other extracurricular activities, they can decide to manage themselves and learn. This is possible. And that is why the alumni is important. So I just go through quickly the master's programs that you will have to yearn to do. And I'll explain why it is important to do the master's program. First of all, we know that all the departments, for some of you who don't know, we have several departments and we have several programs. And all of these are important to us. We know that we have Islamic studies, education, Islamic economics, banking and finance, psychology, business administration, information technology, Arabic language and linguistics, along with English language too, which is part of the BEd program. And then we have the memorization center, the Islamic studies. So these are general diplomas. But you will notice that for the master's program, most of these areas are already in. We already have them. Maybe just one master's program is pending, but it will soon come, inshallah. We hope probably by March, we should be able to run it, or at least not later than September 2024. That said, we should also take into cognizance another experience I'm going to tell you. I don't have to mention this student. This student completed his bachelor's program in Islamic economics, banking, and finance. And then he came to my office. And then he said to me, "Dr. Barry, I have something to reveal to you. I am now an alumni of IOU." He has not yet done his graduation, but he has got his certificate of completion. And he is now applying to one of the leading Islamic banks in the Gambia. He already said the job offer is available to him. He is the most qualified. And he's very happy that he is fulfilled and he's going to that job. You know, that kind of just touched me, you know, it touched me so deep. Because this man is a 60-something-year-old man. He said, if IOU never existed, I would never have been able to do my bachelor's program. And secondly, the bachelor's program I wanted to do is only available at IOU. That is Islamic Banking and Finance. And that is the reason why IOU is unique and IOU is good in your lives. Now, if you are doing a master's degree, I don't have to go through what Professor Hassan mentioned, but I know you require to have a bachelor's degree first. You must have completed your bachelor's degree in the related field. If you are going to do a master's degree in education, ideally, a bachelor's degree in education would be most helpful. But it's not exceptional. You can have a bachelor's degree, for example, in Islamic Economic Banking and Finance. You might still be allowed to do your master's degree in education. The education could be much more open. But you cannot do, hopefully, a master's degree in Islamic Economic Banking and Finance if you do not have a bachelor's degree in the same field. That would probably be much of a problem for you. And certainly, you can do it on part-time, which will take you, I mixed it up. The part-time is the one that goes from 4 to 6 years, and the full-time is the one that goes from 2 to 4 years. So we need to do that correction on the slide. I'm sure all of you are following. So note that the full-time requires you to do 2 to 4 years, meaning 2 is the minimum number of years you need to do it, and 4 years is the maximum number of years in a flexible pace. And then full-time, part-time would require you to do at least a minimum of 4 years, because you are going to cut your courses into half. In the semester, you will be doing probably up to 3 instead of doing only all the 6. And then you will be able to do your maximum number of years with a flexible pace up to 6 years. And naturally, it is flexible, and you cannot do the master's program beyond 6 years. If you do up to 6 years, naturally, it means that there must be some reason which should be given by the university. Now, I'm not going to go into the enrollment fees. I wanted to do it, but I'm sure this will be shared with you. But what is important to note at this stage is that you as alumni, you are given a very special discount. Alumni students are going to get a special discount, but I will have to leave that to the technicians to be able to give you those details. Now, the other thing is that the accreditation. What about the accreditation? When it comes to accreditation, you'll be wondering whether we have got our master's programs accredited. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a letter that was written by NACA in which we have been informed of our accreditation. It's important for you to know, because as students of IOU, this is a very important aspect of the whole program. I just hope that I'll be able to do that using my. Okay, so the accreditation is important because it helps you to better understand how they call it, the opportunities that you will have. I'm sure some of you are seeing the letter now. This letter was written on the 2nd of May, 2028. 2023, sorry. I'm getting completely 2023. And it shows on this letter that the National Accreditation and Quality Assurance Authority gave us a notice that effective 2nd May 2023, all the master's programs have been accredited. You will notice that we also have the postgraduate certificate in education. Now, there are missing master's programs here. One of them, the main one, is the Master of Education, the Master of Arts, Banking, okay, Business Research, sorry. The Master of Business Research. Yeah. We are getting that accredited very, very soon. And so there shouldn't be any worry there, to borrow Professor Hassan's words. So now coming back to our presentation, what we have now is a program that is already accredited. So what are there for the expectations? As we said, if you are doing a master's program, there are several expectations in that regard. And those expectations, I'm sure some of them have been shared. First of all, there's the promotion of research, the publication to international journal, the sharing new ideas of discovery and personal development. But then to become an expert in your field is one of the core reasons why it's important to continue to do your master's. Here, you will learn with engaged course mates. You will boost your salary and career prospects naturally. If you are doing, for example, Islamic Economics, Banking and Finance, with your master's program, most certainly it will give you an increment in your salary. and other possible suspects. And we already mentioned the research opportunities, why you might be traveling and going to new cities, new experiences, because the more you learn, the more opportunities are open to you. You'll be more skilled in your area. You'll become an expert. You can even start specializing. Let's say, for example, if you are doing masters in Islamic studies, you have already done the general courses, like fiqh, aqidah, and others. But once you get to the master's program, you might want to start specializing in a particular area. If you want to go into aqidah only, you can focus on aqidah and do more research on it and become a specialized person in that area. But then it can also pivot you to a new career. Remember, as I said, if you do masters in education, education is very wide. There's special needs education, there is guidance and counseling, there's a host of other things. Like if you do, for example, your bachelor's in psychology and you do your master's in education, there's educational psychology, and you become a very rare gem among the very few who might have done it. And networking opportunities. This is the most precious component of doing a program with IOU, is the networking opportunities. You get to have friends all over the world. You get to be able to travel if you want. You are traveling virtually, yes. But whenever you travel physically, you already have a friend in every city in this world. If you go to Tanzania, you'll find colleagues with whom you have studied. It suffices to contact them to say, I'm going to Tanzania. And then there you have it. You have a friend there, an IOU friend. You want to go to Kenya, you have got probably a new job in Kenya. You are not going to be, how they call it, new in that place, because you will have colleagues and friends with whom you have studied. So IOU gives you a much bigger, a much stronger, a much wider network than any university because of the virtual nature of the IOU. And as we said, the magic word there is that you continue building your career. Look, you do not have to study because you just want to look for a job. A master's program don't only make you seek for a job, but also it gives you a greater order opportunities in knowledge, in seeking knowledge. It makes you much wiser, because you tend to understand what research means. You tend to understand what to say when you are speaking in public. You tend to have a mastery of an area, which makes you more comfortable to speak about it. Even public speaking is very important in your area of specialization. It gives a lot of courage and encouragement to others who will listen to you when you speak in an area of your specialization. For example, if you do Islamic economics, banking, and finance, it's an emerging field today. I keep mentioning that it's an emerging field today in the world, particularly in African Muslim nations, where Islamic banking is becoming the new norm. It is gradually being approved at national level. It's gradually being included in every bank. And then what happens is that they would need experts, and you will probably become one of the very rare experts. Islamic psychology is also something of a rare gem today. A lot of people don't see it as an opportunity, but the problem is a lot of people have trauma in this world. A lot of people are lost because of their mental instabilities, because of their social instabilities, because of civil strife within their countries. A lot of people are going practically mad. And here, madness does not mean you are going to be walking in the streets with your clothes torn, or completely berserk or scrambling into dustbins to eat. No, there are people who are well, properly clothed, wearing nice clothes, going to work, but they are not mentally stable. And these are the kinds of people who are eventually going to be much of a menace to society, because society don't see them as mentally unstable. But then Islamic psychology, Islamic clinical counseling is going to be opportunities that will help bring those people back to the society. It will help bring them, create the stability, mental stability that they need to be back to society. So we have a lot of prospects in the few courses that we are offering, and there are many other potential opportunities in those areas. And why not? You might end up being a teacher. There is no better job. There is no more blessed a job than being a teacher. And if you are a teacher of the deen, well, I don't have to quote the hadith. I'm sure all of you would know what that means in your dunya and in akhirah. So I will break up there, make it a very short one. This is just an address of the headquarters or the IOU in general. And then we will now proceed to question and answers. if you have any, inshallah, and hopefully we will be able to provide the answers that you will be providing to us. So we will break up here quickly without having to prolong this any further, and hope that in our discussions, questions and answers, we'll be able to provide all the answers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Barry, for that comprehensive presentation. It is now clear that IOU offers valuable opportunities for academic growth, alhamdulillah. Now it's time for our audience to ask questions. Please type your questions in the chat box. And we also have with us Sister Yasmin Tour, our research coordinator, who will be addressing your concerns, inshallah. Over to you, Sister Yasmin.
Jazakumullah khairan, barakallah feekum, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu to everybody who is with us live in this session today.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi.
I have questions coming in, so let's see. So the first question is, Assalamu alaikum, will you be introducing an MBA in the commercial areas? So answering your question, as Dr. Barry already pointed out, the IOU will be launching several master's programs for which we have already been given the go-ahead from NACA. And one of them is the MBR, which is the Master's in Business Research. So if you were to have an interest in going into the commercial areas, since that is a research-based degree, you can choose that area for your research and do a thesis in that. So hopefully that will be even better than an MBA in commercial areas, because the MBR is going to be research-based and it's going to be focusing more on developing your research skills. So the next question I'm getting is a question addressed to Dr. Barry. The question reads, what did TCU in Tanzania tell you about recognizing IOU certificates when you visited their office 2 years ago?
Okay, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. 2 years ago, the TCU did not have in their standards anything to do with recognizing online universities. What they had at the time was recognizing open and distance learning institutions that has been existing in Tanzania. One of the national universities, an open distance learning institution. Now, a completely online university was still a little bit of strength to them. But alhamdulillah, when I left, for some reasons, it must have been the catalyst, I believe. They started now revising their standards. And I'm very, very happy to say, today they have now upgraded their standards to include online education, meaning complete online education. And this is not entirely because of our efforts at IOU, because of the engagements we made, but most importantly, because of the COVID. Because of the COVID, they came to realize that online education, or in some cases they call it blended learning, where they expect some few live sessions, it's an indispensable element now in the learning process, in the learning methodologies. This is the reason why we are saying now that the Tanzanian TUC will hopefully be able to open up to online universities. And now we have not really engaged them since then, but we know that there are chances that students who graduate with IOU would not have much of a problem, but we will still need to engage them. Now that the new standards are out, I'm not sure whether they have validated them now, but we have hope now. In the whole of Eastern Africa to Southern Africa, online education now has been integrated into their new standards, what we call quality assurance, quality standards framework. And that means there are opportunities for IOU to get their students recognized at the TUC, inshallah, in the very, very near future.
Barry, I think they have already recognized our degrees when our students recently, I think a couple of months ago, when our students applied to them and they accepted the degrees of IOU as well. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have another question that reads, how much is the course? So depending on which course you pick for the master's programs, based on your country of residence, there are different fee brackets. And when you register for the course that you are interested in, you will get the relevant information from the admissions office based on where you live. The next question is, I did
just
my
sorry,
BA.
it's important if it is alumni, I think we have made a commitment that for alumni students, they would have a special discount.
Yes.
If you're alumni.
Of
So
course,
that's important to note.
Yes. So the next question is, I did my BA in Islamic Studies. Can I do a master's in Islamic Psychology? Although I have a degree in educational counseling psychology from a Nigerian university. This is directed to Dr. Hassan.
Provisionally, I would say yes, because then in that case, we can look at your the courses which you have done in your degree program. And there might be some additional courses in your master's programs, which you would need to pass that. So no doubt there is provision. And this is very common in many universities, that when you switch from one discipline to another, yes, you can do that. But sometimes they ask you to enroll for, it depends upon the situation, that how many courses, that might be a couple of courses, or that might be a bit more than that. But we have a very specialized team. They look at it and then they make a decision, inshallah. Yeah.
The next question reads, is the master's program in psychology accredited? So as Dr. Berry and Dr. Hassan both mentioned, all the master's programs that the IOU will be launching are fully accredited by NACA. So to answer the question, yes, the master's program in psychology is fully accredited. The next question is, again, is the master's in psychology accredited in India? If not, can we start counseling people after we do our master's? So with regards to accreditation, or rather the recognition of your degree from the IOU in your country of residence, you would have to check with the local authorities what the prerequisites or what the rules on the ground are with regards to licensing of counselors. So if you are in India, you would need to check on the ground what conditions you need to fulfill in order to be able to counsel people on the ground there in India. But with regards to online counseling, if you have a master's in psychology, you should be able to counsel online, provided your specialization or your research allows you to have those necessary skills. But for the ground, you have to check with your local authorities. The next question is, can someone having done a BAIS do a master's in Islamic it reads physiology. I don't know if you meant psychology, and this is a typo. If they have a bachelor's in pharmacy too. So let's just assume you were supposed to write psychology instead of physiology. So then again, answering your question, as Dr. Hassan also said, we would have to look at the courses you did, and on a case-by-case basis, there is a possibility of changing your specialty a bit. But the admissions office would have to look over the courses that you took in your degree that you had on the ground, and then compare if your modules match for admission to the Master's in Islamic Psychology.
Inshallah.
So the next question is, Assalamu alaikum. Will there be a fee for the master's degree in business administration? Yes, obviously, yeah, there is a fee structure. And as we pointed out earlier, if you are a graduate of the IOU, then there is a nice discount waiting for you. Otherwise, the admissions office will be providing to you the relevant fee structure based on where you are residing, because we operate in brackets based on income of the respective countries all around the globe. Okay, another question. After BAIS, can I do master's in psychology, education, or business study? Then again, I think this is previously covered. The admissions office would have to look at the modules and the courses you did, and then process your admission accordingly if you want to do a switch from your area of specialty. The next question is, the thesis done in BAIS, can that be considered for publishing or to be put in a book form? Yes, your thesis can be considered for publishing, but you would need to extract 1 or 2 research papers in order for them to get published. And if you were to put your thesis into a book form, that would also require, some editing and change of format. So it can be done either or. If you want to go for a research article, you can publish your research in the form of a research article. And if you want to go the route of turning your thesis into a book, then that is also possible. Then again, the Directorate of Research and Publishing is more than happy to guide you along the way and help you do this publishing of your thesis, inshallah.
Sister, let me add a bit more here, just for the information of our students, our alumni. We, as I mentioned earlier in my talk, that we particularly encourage our students, our graduates, to work on that, to get their research work published. Whether it's your BA thesis or MA thesis, but it depends upon the quality of the work. This is one thing. Second thing is that if you want to publish it in the form of a book, then as I mentioned that some amendments needs to be done. For example, in your thesis, you write what are your objectives, what is your methodology, statement of the problem, blah, blah, blah. These types of things have you seen in a book? No. No book include the objectives and methodology and the statement of the problem and these things, So these types of structural changes you need to make. And you can manage that. It's absolutely fine. Secondly, I would also, say to our all brothers and sisters, when you are thinking of this, whatever thing you are writing, whether it is an essay for a newspaper or magazine, or your research paper, or you are writing a book or monograph or a research report for an organization, please always think of your audience. And you write in accordance with the demand of your audience, what they want. For example, when you are doing your thesis, you are producing something, and what's your audience here? Whether it's your BA thesis or your master's thesis or your PhD thesis. Can somebody imagine what's your audience? Your audience is your examiners. You need to satisfy them. This is the most important thing you need to keep in your mind. Now, for your examiners, you are a student. No matter whether you are a PhD student or you have done 2 PhDs and you are doing 3rd PhD, still you are a student for them, for your examiners. You have to satisfy them. That's why in a thesis, you write your objectives, you write your methodology and all other things, But there's a big but here. When you are converting your thesis into a book, what's your audience? Your audience is either a general public or an academic world or something like that. For them, now you are not a student, you are a scholar. They are not interested what was your research questions, what were your objectives. They want to know your thoughts. What are your ideas? Yeah. So that's the thing which you need to make amendment in your thesis. And it's not a hard task, absolutely not. Just with some extra work, you can easily do this. Many good books are rooted on base of their good thesis. You know, some people did very good thesis and then they amended, and the book was also excellent when it was published after amendments. Anyway, thank you very much, sister. Let's go to next question.
Okay, the next question is, when is the MA in Arabic starting and what are the prerequisites? I have done a BAIS. So the MA in Arabic, if I'm not mistaken, will be launched next spring. And
sister, just let
hopefully.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Dear alumni, as I mentioned that in our MA, these are two disciplines in which we have two versions of master's programs: Arabic masters in Arabic and masters in Islamic studies. In each discipline, you have two versions: research-based MA and course-based MA. So in this semester, we have already launched research-based master's program in Arabic. That's going on. In next semester, inshallah, in March, we will also launch course-based master's program in Arabic, inshallah. Yeah. Hope it's clear, yeah.
The student is actually asking about the prerequisites because they have done BAIS. So with regards to the prerequisites obviously, since you are someone who has done the BAIS, there would be an initial assessment of your level of Arabic if you want to transition into the MA in Arabic. So if you turn out to have that level of Arabic, then I suppose, or if you are from a background of native Arabic speaking, then there would supposedly be not a problem in going into an MA in Arabic. But if you do not fulfill those minimum requirements of having, fluency in the language, then I suppose there would be some extra modules you would have to do if your case gets processed. Because transitioning from an English-based program into an Arabic-based program is a huge change. Okay, we have another question. In publishing our thesis, what provisions does the IOU put in place for assisting in editing and perfecting the work to publish? Right. I think this has already been answered by Dr. Asad, pretty elaborate.
Yeah, just
right?
To add.
Yeah, okay.
Just a little, I'll add a bit. This is actually asked in the past as well a couple of times. And my dear students, and alumni, I should say, being an author, it's your responsibility. It's always author's responsibility to produce that document, whether it is a research paper or it's a book, manuscript and everything, in finished form. So you should make sure at your end that it can go as it is for publishing. Now, after that, it will, when you submit it, then it will go to the, our research department, and then they will look at it. Then it will be sent to external reviewers as well. They will look at, all sort of that process will start. So my point is that it's not the responsibility of research directorate to start editing your book or something. It never happens in the world, And that was happened in a few times in our university as well, when we try to encourage our graduates, our alumni, that please get your work published. And I still remember, I think it was more than twice, perhaps, I explained this process to them in detail, and some of our graduates, they were very enthusiastic. Yes, they will do that. And later on, when they submit their work, they submit their thesis as it is. That was a disappointment to me as well in person. Again, we said to them that, look what we explained it to you, so please make these amendments. And then submit it to us. Because what they said to us, okay, can you publish it? I mean, please feel free to make any changes, whatever you want. This is not our job, we can't do that. No publisher in the world, does this. So again, my humble request to you is, our alumni, our graduates, so please remember that this is author's responsibility to make your manuscript just ready for you. So that's your effort. Then after that, it may need some amendments, this and that, whatever the comments of the reviewers that will come back to you. And again, they may ask for some amendments. And again, you have to make some amendments. This is the procedure in all over the world, in the publishing world. I hope it's clear. Yeah, good.
Okay, the next question is, Islamic psychology sounds interesting. Do we have people that practice this profession in the Gambia? I think Dr. Berry would be better suited to answer this.
Barry, your mic is muted.
Yes. Actually, I was struggling to get my unmuted mic. Yes, Islamic psychology. We have several people who have studied Islamic psychology, and there are clinics that have just been newly opened. We have one of our sisters, Sister Fatma, who is actually teaching at the university, a close friend of IOU for many, many years, who has opened a new clinic of what we call doing clinical work. And most of the students who are there partly are those who have studied Islamic psychology with IOU. We have ventured into opening several other clinics in the Gambia. But it should be noted that opening a clinic requires a lot of complicated processes. Even IOU itself wanted to have an offline branch of its own online clinic in the Gambia. I'm sure Professor Hassan will be able to elaborate on that one a little bit. And the processes that are required, the licensing of the specialized professionals to handle the counseling is so complex that we said, okay, maybe it will be wise not to go into it. It will just create more problem, more challenges for us. So this is why we did not open any particular one in the Gambia. But then we also have, IOU is running an online clinic, which is benefiting in the Gambia here. Now, let me just close that with an experience we had with one of those who was reviewing our master's program in Islamic psychology and Islamic psychology and in psychology and Islamic counseling. He is called Professor Lamin Sidibe, who is very well known among the cycles of Gambians as one lead psychologist who has worked with the international world, the UN and others, and now who is a retired person. Professor Lamin Sidibe, during the assessment of our master's program, made a revelation that was very interesting. He said most of the measures that are being used to treat patients in the Gambia in the past have been the Western approach to psychology therapy. However, when he himself, who is also involved in this, used the Islamic approach without being conscious of it, actually, when he used the Islamic approach to psychology, to treatment, clinical treatment, it was more efficient. It was more efficient because he realized that, bringing the deen back to the person, counseling the guy, trying to revive the faith, in the person while the person is in trauma, made more sense to the individual than just, trying to give them medication to see what is damaging their brain, whatever. So he immediately was one of those who vehemently, supported the approval of the accreditation of our master's program, which was a very complex one. So this is just a testimony that these are emerging issues. So even in the Gambia is emerging, and inshallah, we are hoping that very soon it can be one that would be found in practically many hospitals, and particularly in the psychiatric centers, to help people who are facing challenges, you know, be it trauma or any mental disorder, inshallah.
Inshallah. Sure.
Okay, so the next question is, for Masters in Psychology, what is the level of supervision provided? I had some struggles in my bachelor's program.
Right.
And then there is another question that relates to this. Who is the head of Department of Psychology now?
Right. This Professor Saad Tajuddin is the head of Department of Psychology. And regarding the supervision, I'm not sure what our alumni mean about the supervision, but in our psychology, masters in psychology, we have in the first semester we have a research methodology course, which is just this only one course in first semester. This is a very big course in which we teach you ins and about the research. In second semester, there are 3 courses, and each is 20 credits. One is Islamic psychology and psychotherapy. Second one is psychological testing and assessment. And third one is psychological interventions. So this is second semester. These are usual courses, you know. In third semester, again, you have only one course, preparation of a research proposal. And that's 60 credit, a big course. Now, sometimes, you know, people think that, okay, what's this, you know, research proposal? It's just only just few pages and a full semester, such a big course, but it's not so simple. You will learn a lot of things. How to select a topic, how to prepare. Preparing a research proposal is also a big thing which you need to learn. It has many, many dimensions. So you will learn a lot of things, you know, in this, believe me. And then fourth semester, purely based on thesis, that's also 60 credit. In fourth semester, even we will, you know, possibly we will start allocating supervisors, perhaps at the end of third semester when you have done this research proposal, because in your third semester, you will have your mind that in which area you would like to do your research. But definitely, when you will start your fourth semester, you will have your supervisor, and under the guidance of your supervisor, each student would be allocated a supervisor. And under his or her guidance, you will do your thesis. And this is just a very usual process in every university, in every research project, whether it is a master's thesis or, you know, PhD thesis or any other thesis. So I hope it's clear. Yeah, if not,
may I also say something
yes,
with regards to supervision? In the 10 years I have experience as a supervisor at the undergraduate level and also at the master's level, the thing that students need to understand is the level of supervision provided to you is directly proportional to the amount of effort you are willing to put in. So you have to understand that at a given time, you are not the only student allocated to a particular supervisor. So there might be a couple of students who have, you know, looked at a topic of research that falls under the supervisor's, you know, expertise, and a supervisor might have a couple of students at, you know, at a given time. So if you want your supervision experience to be the best, you need to check in with your supervisor regularly, whether or not the supervisor checks in with you. So you have to set for yourself, deadlines, even if there are no deadlines there. And you have to give yourself goals you need to fulfill. And you have to, for example, if you're starting to write your thesis and you have done your introduction, check in with your supervisor, let them know of your progress, send them a draft, ask them for their feedback. You cannot expect your supervisor to, run after you, ask you where you are, what you have done. And then let's say a week before the deadline of the submission of the final draft, you expect your supervisor to, go over your thesis and provide, comprehensive feedback and tell you everything that you have done wrong, etc., etc. So you have to engage your supervisor. So specifically at the master's level, you should have that level of self-accountability that you nudge yourself to, stay updated and keep your supervisor updated about your progress. So that will ensure that you have a smooth, conversation with your supervisor regarding your research, and that your supervisor is up to date and you're up to date. And if you're stuck somewhere, your supervisor knows it and you know it, and there is a smooth flow of communication. So you need to put in the work in order for your supervisor to lead you in your work. So this is very important. You cannot be expected to be spoon-fed. So this is something very, very important that you need to keep in mind.
Absolutely. Thank you, sister. And just I would add a bit more that being a research student, you need to be proactive in your
exactly.
work. It's not, as Sister Yasmin said, that it's not the supervisor. This is one thing. Second thing is that, again, as I said just a few minutes ago, that when you are submitting something for publishing, whether research paper or thesis, etc., or book, so it's your responsibility to make sure that with the best of your efforts, this is the final version of the things which you are submitting. Please do not expect from your supervisor he or she will correct your grammar or rewrite your sentences or improve. No supervisor in the world, does this, and this is not their job. Their job is only to guide you, not to spoon feed you, And at master's level, mashallah, all of you are matured students. So they will guide you. They will tell you that this is the weakness and you need to improve it in this way. Then you need to work on that. They will not write it for you. They will not amend it for you. They will not make corrections for you. So that's not the system in any university in the world. Right?
Okay, the next question is, I did my degree in BBA. Can I do my master's in Islamic economics, banking, and finance?
Yes, sister, you have already explained it, I think, in other questions.
Yeah, that's related to this. Okay, so another question is, thank you for the words of encouragement. What are the new developments regarding IOU's recognition by the National Universities Commission in Nigeria? The NUC.
Right. Sheikh Barry, you want to highlight this?
Yes, the NUC actually does recognize the International Open University. The conditions of the recognition is what is a bit difficult for our own students there. There are two conditions that are laid for students to be, for their certificates to be approved at the NUC level, probably without them even having to do with the NYSS, the National Youth Service Scheme. Now, what is required for them in their conditions of recognition is that the student will have to travel to the Gambia for 1 year. And the other alternative is that we have to establish a full offline structure on the ground, you know, having a few people appointed and all that. So we have been engaging them, and there's a third alternative we are pursuing at the moment, which is to enter into an agreement both with the ADU, that's Amadou Bello University which is found in Zaria, and also with the BUK, that is the Bayero University of Kano. So we have engaged these two universities presently. There's an MOU going on. If these MOUs are finally cleared, they take time to clear though, but if they are cleared, what that means now is that most of our students would have what we call a dual registration. They register with us, but they will also register with those universities. And that would allow them, therefore, to be able to be recognized, because those universities are already recognized on the ground. So this is the process that is ongoing. But we have not also neglected the approach engaging the NUC themselves. And we are happy to understand that they have now got a new executive secretary. And we've been discussing on engaging the new executive secretary. We have discussed with our accreditation body on the ground. And alhamdulillah, we are hoping that we will be able to end up signing an MOU between the two accreditation bodies that would now allow Nigerian graduates not to have any more problems when they've complete their courses in Nigeria, inshallah. Let's all pray for that to happen so that we don't have any challenges. I know this has been a big challenge for most of our students in Nigeria, but we are not, you know, we are doing every effort possible at every opportunity to make sure that this is resolved, inshallah.
Okay, the next question is the old MAIS accredited or the research one? So the old MAIS is the course-based old MAIS. We now have an alternative that is the MAIS course-based accredited version that's launching. And the MAIS research-based one is also accredited, that's launching. So the old MAIS is going to be replaced by the new course-based MAIS accredited program. And we will also have the MAIS research-based program, which is also accredited.
I just want to inform them that even if you pursue the old MAIS, which was not the one that was reviewed and submitted for accreditation, and for any reason you have any challenges tomorrow with it, you can always come back to us. We've already cleared with the accreditation body on the ground that they will continue to provide you know, support where it is possible for students who might have some of the old programs. If you are in the early stages of the old program and you want to shift to the new program, and the new program is not at launch, we are appealing that you delay a little bit. The delay is probably worth it. Then you can just go into the new program. So I'm sure we will also discuss at our level, probably at Senate level, to see opportunities that might arise in that transfer. The courses that might not have changed, that are part of your MAIS that you have done and have not drastically changed at all, they might probably be transferred as credit. And then you will have to probably spend sort of time. The courses that have completely changed, meaning in the revision phase, will probably require redoing, doing them again. But all of these things will be discussed, because the intention, be assured, is to make sure that you go out of this university with pride, having a certificate for which you can present anywhere you want without an issue. So far, all those with the old programs, wherever they have gone, some of them have been admitted in other universities and they have been excellent, including the University of the Gambia here to do their masters. And it has been also attested by the accreditation bodies that I know that our programs are really of high standards. The quality is high, the standard is high, and therefore we should take pride in that. It doesn't matter whether it's an old program or a new program. There are changes in the new program as a result of accreditation requirements, but that does not disqualify that the old program is as good as the new program. Probably new program could be considered a little better. And that's the only difference. So don't see yourself doing an old program as really wasting your time or whatever. There is still, for you, if you are advanced in that area, do not have any problem there. Even if you graduate with us and you want to do your master's program that is accredited with your unaccredited bachelor's program, no problem there. We will take you on board and you will do the master's program without any problem. we have been cleared by the accreditation body also to do that, inshallah.
Inshallah. So the next question is, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May I know when exactly the Masters in Islamic Economics, Banking and Finance will be launched?
That's a good question. It's not confirmed yet. We will try next year in March, but apparently it seems chances are, we can't guarantee actually, because there are some other programs as well, and there's a lot of administrative work before launching any new program. So I would say that, this is just 50-50 at the moment. But if it's not launched in March next year, then it will go to September next year, inshallah, latest.
Okay, we have another question. How do we receive guidance for publishing ABA-IS thesis, and who will advise whether it is of the required quality? I think this has already been answered in very much detail.
Yeah. Just dear graduates, as I said, that please make amendments and then submit it to us. Make sure that it is up to the mark and everything. That's very important. Right.
Okay, the next question is, I would like you to consider our degrees where in most of the courses you put 3 credit hours and is more than that. I have some difficulties to be admitted into the master's due to credit hours.
Okay, let me help that guy here. This is there's another guy who is called Habibu, who also said that we should change it from 3 hours to 12 hours. Well, they have to understand the difference there. When we say a 3 credit hour, is completely different. Professor Hassan might probably clarify that. But that does not mean, I don't know what they want to understand here by saying 12 hours. It doesn't make at all. They are considered as normal hours. When you say a credit hours, it is calculated in such a way, it allows, this is a universal standard of calculation. It allows students to study a number of courses within a number of hours, within the semester, that will account for the required number of hours that are standardized everywhere in the world. So Professor Hassan, you might probably clarify that further.
Yes, Sheikh. I'll just give an example of our university. The accredited programs, according to NACA, we can offer maximum 60 credits in a semester. Now, these 60 credits, whether it's one course of 60 credit, as we have, in some cases like research methodology, in psychology, that's in the whole semester, this is only one course in the whole semester, 60 credits. Or there can be 2 courses, 30 and 30 credits. Or there might be 6 courses, 10 credits each. So it depends upon that. So I think students should, understand in this way. It's not like the hours, this is the term, credit hours, which is different from this year. I hope it's clear, yeah.
Okay, the next question we have is, what is the difference between the research and course-based MA programs? I think this has already been covered in detail.
Yeah, in detail. Brother or sister, I would request you that if you could watch, once we finish the session, later on it will be on YouTube, and you can watch the first part of this session, inshallah. I try to explain it in detail in the beginning, yeah.
Okay, the next question is, will the sessions be live or recorded? And will we have community service hours for the new master's programs?
Right. You want to answer, sister? This is just a simple thing. Or do you want me?
Sorry, I was speaking, but it was muted. So the sessions, there will be, I think, live revision sessions like before for the master's programs.
Yes, sister.
Right?
Yeah, there would be
and
weekly sessions.
weekly live sessions. And also there is going to be a community service component like before. You will still need to do your community service as a requisite to get your degree and to graduate, because even though the new programs are they are accredited, there is a modification in the curriculum, but the programs are still in line with IOU's core principles, and that's that you are seeking knowledge to be able to serve the community. So community service hours will still be a part of it, inshallah. Okay, we have another question. We will like our credit hours to be changed from 3 to 12. I think this has already been answered. Then we have another question. Is the master degree accredited in European countries? Dr. Barry, I think this is best for you to answer.
Well, you see, accreditation is a process. It is not immediate. In some how do you call it? In most of our tracer study, we've seen students who have got their bachelor's program, presented to some universities around the world, and they have been given accredited. They have been admitted to those universities. And in other cases, these universities will write to the accreditation body to request for information about our university and whether the programs are accredited, and they will respond appropriately. So yes, as the university keeps growing, it is getting to be recognized internationally, and it is getting its name. So yes, some universities have, without even questioning our university or our authorities here in the Gambia, accepted the certificates and allowed students to do their bachelor's program, their master's program and things like that. So I don't know with regards to employment. I'm not sure. We are collecting statistics. So as alumni, if you have any information that has to do with students who have attempted to seek for jobs in Europe, in America, in Canada, elsewhere, and being able to get successful, it's important we gather that information and then catalog them, because it's important to share those as much as possible, because we won't be able to know these challenges until the students report them back to us. But so far, alhamdulillah, we have not had really big problems. We have had few. We have sought solutions for some, and some have really succeeded. Very, very, very few have had challenges which we found almost impossible to resolve. But it means that the more we are getting this, the better we are prepared now to ensure that we help and support our students around the world to access jobs without having a problem with their certificates, or to pursue their education also without challenges, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay, the next question we have is, what's the procedure for PhD in Islamic studies?
Good question. I would say we get approval of our curriculum, inshallah. But it's just as simple. Once you have a master degree in that area, then you are eligible to apply for our PhD program. But PhD program is purely based on thesis, and is producing high quality thesis. So once we start that, inshallah, we will discuss that. And also, it's my dream. I wish all of you, or at least majority of you, to go for our PhD program as well, inshallah. That's why we are actively working. And as I said, that 2 PhD programs, Islamic Studies and Education, they have already submitted to NACA for approval, Accreditation Authority. Rest, we are planning to start working on producing the curricula of other PhDs, although it's a very lengthy and complicated process. A lot of work of various teams are involved, But inshallah, this is our continuous process of development. Inshallah.
Inshallah. But also, perhaps what would be useful for anyone who is interested in a PhD is to register your interest with the alumni office, leave your email and WhatsApp. And when the respective PhD program of your interest is launched or near to launch, then the alumni office will contact you.
Sure.
And you can, get all the relevant information on it, inshallah.
Sure.
Okay, the next question is, does the University of Ghana also recognize IOU degrees?
I would...
Dr. Barry, this is for you, perhaps, I guess.
Okay, yeah, I think it comes back to the previous answer I made. On case-by-case basis, we've been doing University of Ghana, I'm not sure. I cannot tell because I'm not sure whether anybody did present their papers there and get rejected. But what I know is that in Ghana, some of our certificates are already recognized. And I think we did have a feedback at one point that a student didn't have any challenges getting access to a study or whatever with regards. But I don't have the updated information as I speak with you. But I know that in West Africa, Nigeria might be probably a bigger challenge. But other than that, most of the Anglophone African countries, Sierra Leone and others, even if they are posing any challenges, they are very minimal. Why? Because there is a network of Anglophone countries in West Africa where universities are recognized without a problem. What might be a challenge up till now, which is now becoming a thing of the past, is about the entirely online programs. That has been a challenge so far. But alhamdulillah, I have to say that a lot of improvement in that regard has now happened. And IOU now stands tall as a leading online institution in Africa, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Inshallah, for ground, the situation on the ground, we have very active and committed rep in Ghana, Brother Samuddin, and I would ask our, brothers to just contact them. He knows, exact ground situation over there in the country.
Okay, the next question is, I am currently in the old MAIS program in the 3rd semester. Is the program not accredited? So yes, the old MAIS program is not accredited, but if your question stems out of the concern of not being able to get admission to a PhD program in the IOU, then the IOU will accept any of its graduates even if they came from an old or, as we say, unaccredited version of the program. So if you are a graduate from the BAIS program, that was the old one, you are eligible for admission into the master's programs, the accredited ones. And inshallah, the same will go hopefully for the MAIS graduates once our PhD programs are launched. Dr. Barry and Dr. Hassan can confirm
Yes, you're
this.
right, sister. And as Sheikh Barry also mentioned, that many of our graduates, old programs, they have been accepted in many countries, in many occasions, for admissions in higher degree programs and also for jobs as well. So it's not like that, it's not like that unaccredited and it's not accepted anywhere. No, that's not like this. Because when we issue the degrees, every degree is stamped by respective ministries in the Gambia. And that's very unique, which service, which we do that, otherwise universities just issue degrees, hard copy, that's all. But here, I appreciate the, unique, service to the university of our worthy Vice Chancellor, that alhamdulillah, our university is highly respected in the government circles and degrees are stamped by the respective ministries. Yes, sister, next one.
Okay, the next question is, when does the Masters in Islamic Psychology and Counseling exactly begin?
Islamic Psychology has already started. Masters, yeah.
Yeah, that's for the Masters.
This is the question and it's already started.
So if you're still able to enroll, perhaps enroll into the program. If not, then you would have to wait till March to enroll in the new upcoming session, but the program is already live. Okay, the next question is IOU offering masters in conventional education courses other than Arabic or Islamic courses? So to answer your question, I think this has previously already been answered, and also in the letter that Dr. Barry shared, IOU is planning to launch a variety of master's programs over the next years, some of which have already been given the go-ahead by NACA, and there are still always new developments. There are always, we have so many academic professionals working around the clock and bringing in new courses. So just stay up to date. And rest assured, IOU will only be adding more master's programs to its existing roster. There is not going to be any subtractions, inshallah. There will only be additions, inshallah. But as Dr. Hassan rightly said, that it takes a lot of work and meticulous, planning and execution to launch these, master's programs or, postgraduate programs. So it will take time. But IOU has lots of things in store for you, inshallah.
Sister.
Okay. The next question.
How many questions?
We have only 2 questions left.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I was just
only 2 questions left.
The length of meeting. Yeah, yes, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Is the Master's in Psychology and Islamic Counseling predominantly course-based or research-based? So Dr. Hassan already answered this. The first 2 semesters will have a couple of courses, which Dr. Hassan outlined. The 3rd semester will have a huge course that is predominantly focused on the development of your research proposal. And the 4th and final semester will be your thesis. So it's a combination of both, basically. But the courses, nevertheless, will focus on developing your research skills as a researcher and as a psychologist, both. Okay. So the last question I have is, I'm currently in the curriculum of BSc Psychology. They said it will be phasing out soon. I've quite some courses to complete. It would be easy if I knew within how long it would phase out so I could plan accordingly.
Sorry, I didn't get the answer. Can you read that again, sister?
A student is saying that I am currently in the curriculum of BSc Psychology, like the current curriculum, the old one. And they said it will be phasing out soon, but I have quite some courses to complete. Like there are quite some courses remaining to complete. It would be easy if I knew within how long it would phase out so I could plan accordingly.
This brother or sister, I mean, if you are regularly enrolling your courses in accordance with the semester format, you absolutely don't need to worry. But if you are just enrolling maybe 1 or 2 courses in the semester, then that's a bit matter of concern. So I would just say that please try to complete timely. It doesn't mean that we are phasing it out tomorrow. We will, of course, looking for our students for the benefit so that they may not suffer. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the end of the questions. Jazakumullah khairan. There were quite some. And I hope that all of your questions have been answered in detail. Jazakumullah khairan to Dr. Barry and Dr. Hassan. And back to our host.
I request all the participants to fill the form. The link has been pasted on the chat. If you're considering to enroll for any of the master's programs, kindly fill the form. And as soon as you fill the form, one of our admission counselors will be contacting you, and you can discuss with them further, inshallah, regarding more specific details. So yes, please do fill the form. It has been pasted multiple times on the chat, and register your interest in any of the master's courses, and you will be contacted soon, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay. Before we conclude, I
Inshallah.
want to express our gratitude to Dr. Cherno Omar Bari, Dr. Muhammad Ahsan, and Sister Yasmin Tour for your valuable insights today. We hope this session has given all of you a clear picture of the exciting opportunities awaiting for you at the International Open University. Thank you all for joining us today. We look forward to welcoming you to IOU's master's programs soon, inshallah.
Inshallah. And thank you, sisters, for administering this session. And on behalf of Sheikh Bari and myself, and also from sisters, we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of you, for the success in your studies, and also happy life and with an increasing state of Iman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you. Ameen.
Ameen, Ya Rab.
Thank you very much. I also do commend the effort to do this and encourage it as often as possible. Even in mid-session, it's always good to keep doing this kind of engagement with the alumni and also with our student body, so they get to understand more how we function, how we operate beyond the classroom, so that it's more of general questions, so they can reach out to the administrators of the university. And, you know, be it myself, the deputy vice chancellors, even the chancellor of the university could be engaged also in the same vein. And why not? Even the directors. We have a lot of our directors who are specialized in areas such as Sheikh Raban, Mustafa Raban, and others, who will be allowed to engage with the students, you know, of a session of half an hour, 45 minutes. This is very, very important and encouraging, because then they would understand the efforts being made for the benefit of the students, the effort being made for the benefit of the alumni, and most importantly, the trajectory IOU is taking towards achieving its vision, its dream, changing the nation through education. So I commend the organizers. I encourage you to continue doing it. And I think it has its own merits, it has its own benefits. And so surely a lot of people will not only learn something from it, but they will also have take-homes that they can share with other people.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. So we have end of meeting dua.
And I hope all those who will join us after watching the YouTube would be alerted of the next session, inshallah.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Sheikh Bari, if I request you for closing dua, please.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayka. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Fi amanillah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.